20 consecutive years. That is how long Rollins Inc., the parent company of Orkin, has reported revenue growth. Not 20 months, 20 years. Through recessions, pandemics, and market crashes. And their entire empire is built on one thing: spraying for bugs. Now ask yourself why nobody is making courses about pest control routes. Why nobody is posting septic tank content on social media. Why nobody at a dinner party has ever leaned over and said, "I make 6 figures cleaning grease traps." The answer is obvious. These businesses are boring. They are unglamorous. Some of them will make you physically uncomfortable just hearing about them. And that is precisely why the people running them are quietly building wealth that would shock you. After studying hundreds of business models, real operator financials, and market data, I found 18 businesses that sound so dull, so invisible, so embarrassingly simple that most people dismiss them on sight. And every single one of them is a secret gold mine hiding behind a wall of indifference. Some of these are going to challenge what you think you know about making money, and if you only remember one, make it the last one on this list. It has created more quiet wealth than almost every flashy startup you have ever scrolled past, and you have probably walked by it 1,000 times without realizing what was happening inside. My name is John. Let's get into it. Business 18, dumpster rental. Let's start with something you see on every construction site and never once think about. A metal box sitting on a driveway or a job site. It collects debris. Someone picks it up when it is full. That is the entire business. The U.S. roll-off dumpster rental market generates over $5 billion annually. A single dumpster rental runs $350 to $800 depending on size and location. A small operator with 15 to 20 dumpsters and a hook lift truck can generate $20,000 to $40,000 per month. The truck costs between $50,000 and $120,000 used. The dumpsters cost $4,000 to $6,000 each. And here's the part nobody mentions. Contractors do not comparison shop for dumpsters during a job. They call whoever showed up on time last time and whoever answers the phone first. Reliability is the entire competitive advantage. Once you are a contractor's go-to dumpster guy, that relationship lasts years. The dumpster sits there doing nothing. Gravity fills it up. You swap it out and charge again. That is recurring revenue powered by physics. Business 17, mobile welding. Most people think welding is a trade, not a business. They are wrong. A mobile welder with a truck-mounted rig drives to the customer's location, whether that is a farm, a construction site, a marina, or an industrial yard, and repairs, fabricates, or modifies metal structures on the spot. The American Welding Society estimates the welding industry contributes over $34 billion to the U.S. economy annually. A skilled mobile welder charges $75 to $200 per hour, depending on the type of weld and the urgency. Emergency calls, a broken gate hinge on a cattle ranch at 6 a.m., command even more. A solo mobile welder with a fully equipped truck can generate $8,000 to $20,000 per month. The truck and rig setup costs between $25,000 and $60,000. And here is what nobody tells you about this business. Most welding shops are stationary. They wait for the customer to bring the work to them. A mobile welder eliminates that friction entirely. You bring the shop to the problem. That convenience premium means you can charge 30 to 50% more than a shop rate, and the customer is happy to pay it because the alternative is disassembling their equipment, hauling it across town, waiting 3 days, hauling it back, and reassembling it. The boring factor here is the advantage. Sparks, heat, heavy metal. Nobody glamorizes this on Instagram, which means nobody is flooding the market. Business 16, Porta, Potty rentals. Every outdoor event, every construction site, every festival, and every marathon in the country needs portable restrooms. The global portable restroom rental market was valued at $20.71 billion and is projected to reach $34.86 billion by 2030. A single unit costs between $700 and $1,500 to purchase. Monthly rental rates run $100 to $250 per unit. Do the math. 50 units rented at $175 per month each equals $8,750 in monthly revenue. 100 units equals $1,750. The units require servicing once or twice per week, which costs $30 to $50 per service in labor and chemicals. That is a profit margin that makes most tech companies jealous. And the demand is not seasonal if you position correctly. Construction sites need them year-round. Government projects require them by law. Event companies book months in advance. A Reddit operator on the sweaty startup community recently posted that he runs 80 units and clears over $12,000 a month after all expenses. He services them himself with a pump truck he bought used for $18,000. Nobody at his high school reunion asks him about his business, and he prefers it that way. Business 15, commercial window cleaning, not residential. Commercial. office buildings, storefronts, medical facilities, and multi-story structures that require professional equipment and liability insurance. The U.S. window cleaning industry generates approximately $2.5 billion in annual revenue. A commercial window cleaner charges $2 to $7 per pane for exterior cleaning. A single mid-rise office building with 300 panes pays $900 to $2,100 per visit, and most buildings schedule quarterly or monthly cleanings. One operator with a water-fed pole system and basic rope access training can generate $5,000 to $15,000 per month, working 4 to 5 days a week. The startup cost is remarkably low. A professional water-fed pole system costs $2,000 to $5,000. Insurance and basic marketing bring the total to under $10,000. Here's the trick that separates the gold mine operators from everyone else: annual contracts. A building manager who signs a 12-month agreement for monthly cleanings at $1,500 per visit represents $18,000 in guaranteed annual revenue from one account. Sign 10 buildings and you have $180,000 a year before you pick up a single new client. Building managers do not switch window cleaners unless something goes wrong, because the hassle of vetting a new vendor, checking insurance certificates, and updating procurement records is not worth saving $50 a month. Business 14, coin-operated laundromats. I mentioned the survival rate at the top. Let me give you the full picture. The U.S. coin laundry industry generates approximately $6.8 billion in annual revenue. The average laundromat produces $150,000 to $300,000 in annual revenue, with net profit margins between 20% and 35%. A laundromat costs $200,000 to $500,000 to buy an existing one, or $250,000 to $1 million to build new. Those numbers sound high until you realize the owner involvement is 4 to 15 hours per week. Modern machines accept credit cards, send alerts to your phone, and track revenue remotely. You are not running a business. You are managing a vending operation that happens to wash clothes. And here is the pattern that makes laundromats a goldmine. People do not stop wearing clothes. People do not stop sweating. People do not stop spilling coffee on their shirts. The demand is literally driven by human biology. Add in vending machines, an ATM, and a wash and fold premium service, and you have stacked 4 income streams under one roof, all of them recession-proof. Business 13, pest control routes. Nobody dreams about spraying for cockroaches. That is exactly why pest control operators sleep well at night. The U.S. pest control industry generates approximately $25 billion in annual revenue, according to the National Pest Management Association. Rollins, Inc., the parent company of Orkin, has reported revenue growth for more than 20 consecutive years. A solo pest control operator with a certified license, a sprayer, and a work vehicle can service 6 to 10 homes per day at $100 to $200 per visit. That is $600 to $2,000 daily. But the real gold is in quarterly contracts. 80% of pest control revenue comes from recurring quarterly agreements. One customer signs once. You service them 4 times a year. They pay every visit without you reselling them anything. 100 contracts at $125 per quarterly visit equals $50,000 in annual recurring revenue. 300 contracts equals $150,000. The startup cost is a truck, chemicals, sprayer, and licensing. Total, $10,000 to $30,000 depending on the state. Cockroaches do not check the economy before they breed. Termites do not pause because interest rates went up. The demand is biological, and biological demand is the most reliable income stream on Earth. Business 12, junk removal. 1-800-GOT-JUNK is a billion-dollar franchise built entirely on hauling away things people no longer want. The U.S. junk removal industry generates over $10 billion annually. A solo operator with a pickup truck and a trailer can start for under $5,000 and generate $3,000 to $8,000 per month by servicing 3 to 5 jobs per day at $200 to $600 per load. But here's where the gold mine sits. Most junk is not junk. Appliances get resold. Metal gets scrapped at $0.05 to $0.30 per pound. Furniture gets flipped on Facebook Marketplace. You are getting paid to haul it and then getting paid again to sell it. That is double revenue from one pickup. The startup math is almost comically simple. A truck you might already own, a trailer for $2,500 to $3,000, a listing on Thumbtack or Google Business. That is it. The competition is thin because hauling old mattresses and broken appliances in the July heat is sweaty, unglamorous, and sometimes disgusting. And that disgust, as you have heard me say before, is the most profitable moat in business. Business 11, carpet and upholstery cleaning. The U.S. carpet cleaning industry is valued at approximately $6 billion and growing. A commercial carpet cleaning machine costs between $2,000 and $10,000. A van-mounted system runs $15,000 to $40,000, And the revenue per job is $150 to $500 for residential and $500 to $3,000 for commercial buildings. Here is where the secret gold sits. Commercial contracts. A property management company with 200 apartment units that need carpet cleaning between every tenant turnover generates steady monthly volume. One turnover per week at $250 per unit is $13,000 a year from one client. Hotels need hallway and room cleaning on rotation. Offices need quarterly deep cleans. These are not one-time gigs. They are recurring revenue disguised as cleaning appointments. And the customers do not switch providers over small price differences because the risk of a bad cleaning job, stained carpets, and tenant complaints outweighs any savings. Business 10, pool maintenance and repair. There are approximately 10.7 million residential swimming pools in the United States, according to the Association of Pool and Spa Professionals. Every single one needs regular chemical balancing, filter cleaning, and equipment maintenance. A pool service route of 80 to 100 residential pools, serviced weekly at $125 to $200 per month, generates $10,000 to $20,000 in monthly revenue. The startup cost is a truck, a basic chemical kit, a test kit, and a pool vacuum. Total, $5,000 to $15,000. And the pool does not care about the stock market. It needs chlorine in January and it needs chlorine in July. The equipment fails whether the economy is up or down. An average pool pump replacement costs $800 to $2,500, and the homeowner calls whoever already services their pool. That is you. You are the trusted maintenance provider, which gives you first access to every repair job that comes along. Service plus repair revenue from the same customer base is how pool businesses quietly break six figures with a one-person operation. Business 9, gutter cleaning and installation. There are approximately 140 million residential structures in the United States. The majority of them have gutters, and gutters filled with leaves, debris, and standing water cause foundation damage, roof leaks, and insect infestations. A professional gutter cleaning costs $150 to $350 per home. A gutter installation job runs $1,000 to $5,000. A two-person crew can complete 4 to 6 cleanings per day. At $200 per job, that is $800 to $200 in daily revenue. The startup cost is a ladder, a blower, basic hand tools, and insurance. Total, $3,000 to $8,000. And here is the seasonal gold mine. Every autumn in the northern half of the country, leaves fall. Every homeowner with trees near their roofline needs gutter cleaning. The demand surge happens on a calendar you can predict 12 months in advance. Smart operators sell annual maintenance packages, 2 cleanings per year at a locked rate, converting seasonal rush into predictable recurring income. Business 8, pressure washing. The U.S. pressure washing industry is valued at over $2 billion. A professional pressure washer costs $1,000 to $5,000. Add a truck, insurance, and basic marketing, and the total startup runs $5,000 to $15,000. Revenue per job runs $200 to $800 for driveways, $300 to $1,500 for commercial storefronts, and $1,000 to $5,000 for full building exteriors. A solo operator completing 3 jobs per day at an average of $400 generates $100 to $200 daily. That is $24,000 per month, working 5 days a week. And here's the trick. Commercial contracts, strip malls, gas stations, restaurant patios, apartment complexes, they all need monthly or quarterly pressure washing. A property manager who signs a 12-month agreement for monthly building washes at $800 per visit is $600 in guaranteed annual revenue. Stack 20 commercial contracts, and you are approaching $200,000 a year from a business you started with a pressure washer and a truck. Business 7, locksmith services. The U.S. locksmith industry generates approximately $2.5 billion in annual revenue. And here's the recession-proof detail. People lock themselves out of their cars, homes, and offices regardless of GDP. A standard lockout service costs $75 to $250. A lock rekey runs $50 to $150 per lock. A commercial access control installation runs $1,000 to $5,000. A mobile locksmith with a van and a key-cutting machine can generate $80,000 to $180,000 annually. The emergency nature of the business means premium pricing is expected and rarely questioned. Nobody negotiates when they're standing outside their house at 11 p.m. in the rain. The startup cost is a van, locksmith tools, a key machine, and licensing. Total $10,000 to $30,000. The competitive advantage is availability. Most locksmith markets are underserved, especially during nights and weekends. The operator who answers the phone at 2 a.m. captures every after-hours call in the area, and after-hours calls carry the highest margins. Business 6, self-storage facilities. The U.S. self-storage industry is valued at over $45 billion. There are more than 50,000 facilities nationwide. Nearly 1 in 8 American households rents a storage unit. The average tenant stays for over 14 months and pays $128 per month. That is over $1,600 in lifetime revenue from one renter who signs up once. Occupancy rates held above 85% nationally, even during the 2008 financial crisis. Here's the psychological goldmine. People do not store things because they need them. They store things because they cannot emotionally let them go. That is psychological demand, not economic demand. And psychological demand does not respond to interest rate hikes. Building or buying a self-storage facility requires $500,000 to $2 million, but smaller plays exist. Portable storage container rentals, where you drop a container on a customer's property and charge $100 to $300 per month, can be started for $50,000 to $100,000. The containers last 25 years. The math compounds with every unit you add, and the late fees alone can add 10 to 20% to your monthly revenue. Business 5, bookkeeping for small businesses. The global bookkeeping services market is valued at $682 billion and projected to reach $986 billion by 2032. A solo bookkeeper charges $500 to only $1,500 per client per month. 20 clients at $750 each equals $15,000 in monthly recurring revenue. The startup cost is a laptop, QuickBooks or Xero certification, and a business license, total under $2,000. And here's what makes this a goldmine that nobody talks about. The churn rate is astonishingly low. Switching bookkeepers means migrating financial records, retraining the new person on the client's systems, and risking errors during the transition. Most small business owners would rather pay slightly more than go through that pain. Once a client signs with you, they stay for years. Morgan Housel wrote in Same as Ever that the most powerful force in business is something that has always been true and will always be true. Businesses will always need their books kept. That has been true for 500 years, and it will be true for the next 500. Business 4, commercial cleaning contracts, not residential house cleaning. Commercial, offices, medical facilities, banks, and retail stores that need nightly or weekly cleaning. The U.S. Commercial cleaning industry generates over $90 billion annually. A small commercial cleaning company with 10 to 15 contracts can generate $15,000 to $50,000 per month. The startup cost is cleaning supplies, insurance, and transportation. Total, $3,000 to $10,000. Here is where the gold mine opens up. Janitorial Services Bid, or Janitorial Services Association data, shows that the average commercial cleaning contract lasts 3 to 5 years. The client signs once and pays monthly for years because the cost of switching, revetting, reinsuring, and retraining a new provider is more painful than any price difference. Thomas Stanley found in The Millionaire Next Door that janitorial service owners were among the most overrepresented occupations in the millionaire population. Not doctors, not lawyers. People who mop floors. The money is not in the mop, the money is in the contract. Business 3, ATM placement and ownership. A single ATM costs $2,000 to $8,000. You place it in a bar, a convenience store, a laundromat, or a nightclub. The surcharge per transaction runs $2.50 to $3.50. The average ATM processes 6 to 10 transactions per day. At $3 per transaction and 8 transactions per day, one machine generates $720 per month. The location owner usually gets a small cut, 0.25 to $0.50 per transaction. Your net is roughly $500 to $600 per month per machine. Buy 10 machines. Place them strategically. Your monthly net revenue is $5,000 to $6,000 from machines that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without calling in sick, without asking for a raise, and without filing a complaint. The maintenance is refilling cash and replacing receipt paper. The total time investment per machine is about 30 minutes per week. That is 5 hours per week for 10 machines, generating $60,000 to $72,000 per year. And here is the part that makes ATM operators grin. Cash-based businesses are not disappearing. According to the Federal Reserve's Diary of Consumer Payment Choice, cash is still used in over 18% of all U.S. transactions. Bars, laundromats, festivals, flea markets, and small retail shops still run on cash. And every one of those locations needs an ATM. Business 2, vending machine routes. The U.S. vending machine industry generates approximately $25 billion annually and is expected to grow to $32 billion by 2028. A new vending machine costs $3,000 to $8,000. A refurbished one costs $100 to $3,000. A single well-placed machine generates $300 to $600 per month in revenue with profit margins of 30 to 50%. 10 machines equals $3,000 to $6,000 in monthly revenue. 50 machines equals $15,000 to $30,000. The entire job is restocking and collecting money, roughly 15 to 20 minutes per machine per week. Here's the reframe that changes everything. What you're really buying when you place a vending machine is not the machine itself. It is permission to operate a 24-hour retail store in a space where nothing was generating income before. A factory break room, a hotel lobby, an apartment laundry room, a car dealership waiting area. These are dead zones that your machine turns into revenue streams. And the location owner says yes because you are giving them a service at no cost. The machine serves their employees or customers. You handle everything. They get a small commission or just the convenience. There is no negotiation needed because there is no downside for them. Think about it like this. If you sell a single snack bar, you earn once. If you place a machine that sells 20 bars a day, 365 days a year, you earn 7,300 times. That is the difference between a transaction and a system. And systems are how boring businesses become gold mines. And now, business number one. The one I told you about at the top. The one that has quietly generated more wealth per operator than almost any startup on any tech blog. And the one that 99% of people dismiss the moment they hear its name. Business one, septic and sewer services. Every home, every restaurant, every school, every hospital, and every commercial building that sits outside a municipal sewer line depends on a septic system. That system needs pumping every 3 to 5 years. When it fails, and it will fail, the homeowner does not comparison shop. They call whoever can get there today, and they pay whatever that person charges. A single pump out costs $300 to $600. An operator with a vacuum truck running 3 to 4 jobs per day generates $900 to $2,400 daily. That is $18,000 to $48,000 per month from one truck. The U.S. septic services industry generates over $5 billion annually. The vast majority of operators are small, independent businesses. Here is what turns this from a trade into a gold mine. Maintenance contracts. Smart operators sell annual inspection and pumping agreements at $200 to $400 per household. A route of 400 contracts at $300 each is $120,000 in recurring annual revenue before you pump a single emergency call. That is money that shows up whether or not the phone rings. And here is the uncomfortable truth that makes this number one. The barrier to entry is not money. It is not licensing. It is not equipment. It is disgust. Most people hear septic pumping and their face changes. They physically recoil. That recoil is the moat. That recoil is why a 10-mile radius can support one operator for 20 years without meaningful competition. That recoil is why the operators who push through it drive paid-off trucks, own their homes, and never once worry about the algorithm, the trend cycle, or the next economic downturn. The demand is literally buried in the ground beneath every property. It is not going anywhere. Now, I want to step back and tell you what every business on this list has in common, because the pattern is more valuable than any single entry. None of these businesses get featured in magazines. None of them get venture capital funding. None of them have founders doing podcast tours. And that silence is not a coincidence. It is the competitive advantage. The moment a business becomes popular to discuss, competition floods in and margins collapse. The businesses on this list survive and thrive precisely because nobody wants to talk about them. Keith Cunningham put it bluntly in The Road Less Stupid. He said most business failures come from making decisions based on feelings rather than numbers. The businesses that feel exciting are usually the ones that fail. The businesses that feel boring are usually the ones that compound. Every business on this list follows the same invisible architecture. The demand is permanent. The customer cannot delay the service. The work is unpleasant enough to scare away competition. And the contracts are long enough to create real recurring income. Let me show you what that difference looks like in 2 real lives. Rachel was 32 when she decided she wanted to build something of her own. She spent 18 months developing an app for scheduling personal trainers. Beautiful design, great user experience, $40,000 in development costs. 6 months after launch, she had 200 users and $900 in monthly revenue. The unit economics never worked. The app shut down 14 months later. Rachel went back to her corporate job with less savings and more credit card debt. Her neighbor Victor was 34 when he bought a used pressure washer for $2,800 and a cargo trailer for $2,200. He drove around offering driveway cleaning for $200 a job. Nobody congratulated him. His friends said he was wasting his MBA. His parents asked when he was going to get a real job. 3 years later, Victor had 2 trucks, 3 employees, and 45 commercial contracts. His annual revenue crossed $480,000. His profit margin sat at 30%. He paid off his car. He started funding his retirement account at $3,000 per month. And he still shows up to job sites on Saturdays because he likes watching concrete go from black to white. The difference between Rachel and Victor is not talent, education, or starting capital. Rachel chased something everyone wanted to talk about. Victor built something nobody wanted to talk about. And the money followed the silence. Here's the question I want you to ask yourself before you start anything. Does this business require people to want it, or does it require people to need it? Want fluctuates with trends, moods, and social media algorithms. Need is driven by biology, physics, law, and infrastructure. Every gold mine on this list sits on the need side of that equation. The next time you evaluate any business idea, stop asking whether it sounds impressive. Start asking whether it sounds like something nobody else wants to do. Because that question alone will filter out 90% of the overcrowded markets and leave you standing in the one where the money is quietly waiting. The boring businesses are the gold mines, they always have been. The people who figure that out never need to talk about money again, because the money just keeps showing up. If this video changed how you think about even one business, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more than you know. Subscribe if you want more real strategies for building wealth without needing a viral moment to make it work. And tell me in the comments which of these 18 businesses surprised you the most. I read every single one. I'm John, and I'll see you in the next one.